the general direction of Essex? I don't.
Eastward, or sorry, westward.
Eastward.
To the west.
Oh, from you to Essex.
Right.
Okay.
So if you're trying to get to Essex, you want to go west. Do you have winds that'll blow you to the west? Yes.
Okay.
These are the northeast trades, and these are the prevailing westerlies that blow east, even though they're called westerlies.
When they blow you southwards though?
Ah, yes, they would. So I should really modify this question to say, on the east-west axis, do they blow you in the general direction of Essex?
Well, yeah. Well, I answered yes because you said general direction.
Yeah.
Like if it said in the
These-
direction of Essex, then it
Right.
would be no.
These winds are more eastward than they are northward, and these winds are more westward than they are southward. These aren't called the northerlies or the southerlies and the northerlies. They're called the westerlies and the northeast trades. Well, they're more horizontal than vertical.
Okay.
Waxing is getting big, and it's lit on the right. Any questions before we go to the moon?
Boom, take a break to the moon.
What's that?
You take a break.
No, no break. What? Are there any questions before I do start the moon stuff? Can we leave behind all this other stuff up to number 13?
No, I
So now to the moon. This moon, this is supposed to be the light part. If you got confused and you thought that was the light part, I'm not giving you your points back.
That's what I thought.
That's what I thought.
Okay, so just so you know, now you've been given notice. The light part will be the part that's white, and the part you can't see,
Well, I didn't know.
I'll show dark. And I did that to try to make this less confusing, because some people would see a shape like this, and they would say, I can't tell if that's a circle or not. So I put the rest here just to show them it's not a circle. So this is the light part. And so this mostly full is a gibbous, and it's lit on the right side. We can see the right side, so it's a waxing gibbous. And waxing gibbous means it's getting bigger. So waxing gibbous. Now, for these next ones, you really need to be able to either visualize it or put it in a diagram. So I'm going to draw it like I've been drawing most of these. I'll put the sun up on top. The sun's rays are shining this way. The Earth's going to go here. This is the North Pole of the Earth. And this is the dark side of the Earth. The Earth's rotating counterclockwise. And you can just, through trial and error, figure out where the waxing gibbous is, or you can just know because you know by now that it's right here. And to confirm that this really is the waxing gibbous, that really does look like that, I just orient myself so I'm looking out from the Earth, seeing this moon, whoops, and the part that I can see from the Earth is just this part. So that's going to look mostly light on the right, a little sliver of dark on the left. That's it. That's the right one. So the next question was, how many weeks do we have to wait until there's a spring tide? You get spring tides anytime the sun, the Earth, and the moon form what shape? A line. Everything goes counterclockwise, so the moon is moving around like this. It takes 4 weeks for the moon to go around the Earth, so I'm going to divide this into quadrants. Each of these quadrants is a week. And to get to the point where they're all lined up would be right here. So we'll have a spring tide when this moon gets to here. That'd be a half a week to get to there. The next spring tide would occur 2 weeks later. Now this one about monitoring tides, you watch the tides and you figured out that when the moon is directly overhead, when it's highest in the sky, you would expect a high tide at that time, but there's not one. The high tide occurs 2 hours later. So the question is, when is high tide? Is it asking for high tide? Yeah, when's the time of high tide today? For this, you just need to know that wherever the moon is, you'll have a high tide closest to the moon and a high tide opposite. That's without the effect of the friction of the Earth dragging these tides forward or backward. Sorry, you can't really see my H's very well. There's an H, there's an H. And there'd be low tides here, you don't really need to put them in, but I'll put them in. So now you've got to figure out the time. If you're having trouble with times, do the easy times. We're looking at the top of the earth. This is the middle of the darkness. This would be midnight. This is where you would enter the daylight, so this would be sunrise. This is the sunniest part, so that would be noon. This is the part where you're going into the dark, so that would be sunset. So this high tide, as I've drawn it, would be right in between sunset and midnight. So it would be about 9 p.m. But because of the earth moving around here, dragging this water, dragging that hump of water over a little bit, 2 hours later, instead of 9 p.m., you add 2 hours to that, and you get 11 p.m. And this would be 9 a.m. between sunrise and noon. And instead of high tide at 9 a.m., you get it 2 hours later. So the answer is 11 a.m., 11 p.m. Yes?
I put that, but you marked it wrong, and then
Did I not give points back later on? There were some that I kind of crossed it out and I gave a point back. Yeah, I had that wrong. I didn't realize I was wrong until I graded Keegan Fitzgerald. I just thought, oh, they're missing them. They missed that one too. So the last one is, how long will it be until the next lunar eclipse? And the lunar eclipse, that happens right here. Lunar eclipse happens on a full moon. It happens when the moon is in our shadow. So the sun's coming from over here, and the moon's back there, so it's going to be a half a week until the lunar eclipse.
Yeah, you marked 3.5 for me.
I put down 30, no. I put down 2.5 and you marked half.
I put down a half and you marked 3.
I don't know why I did that. I'm sorry. So you can have that back.
I'm not keeping it.
Okay. Any other questions?
After all, I don't practice.
All right. The next class, you'll get a chance to do this again. It'll be the last time in class. You can take it a million more times outside of class if you have time for that. But hopefully you won't have to do that. Connor, will you stop the video? Phew.